Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. To everybody, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Guess what? We're back. Alhamdulillah. I would like to thank everybody for having patience with us and being able to, hold off until the Ramadan was over. And first and foremost, how was everybody Ramadan? Inshallah ta'ala that everyone reached the benefit of this beautiful month that we just passed. Inshallah. As you see, this is a touchy topic that we're having this let me see if this is correct. Let me get myself straight. You look kind of crooked. Imam Khalil, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam to the barakatuh. What's up, Sheikh?
What's going on, okay? So I was just it's a very important topic. As we all know, some tragic things happened over this, at the Eid over this this last week from last week what occurred, or this week. It was this week.
No.
It was this week. Yeah, it was this week. Yeah, now. That we know that some tragic things happened that occurred at a masjid, but it's public information. For anyone to say it's not public info at Masjid, Philadelphia Masjid. That's what the masjid is called, correct? Imam Khalil?
Yeah.
Philadelphia Masjid in the city of Pennsylvania.
The city of Pennsylvania? You mean
yeah, the city of Pennsylvania. It ain't Philly. It's the whole Philly is the state. Trust me, I know what I'm saying. The city of Pennsylvania.
Nah.
No, but Philadelphia, city of Philadelphia. Nothing else, nowhere else count besides Philly. Pittsburgh don't even count. I'm sorry, I'm playing y'all. Philly, Pittsburgh does count. Shout out to the guys in York and Harrisburg too. But yeah. So an incident occurred where it was a shooting amongst some young guys. One young adult and 4 other teenage kids. Do you know how many people got injured, Imam Khalil? To be specific,
I don't know. Number fluctuate between 9 to 4.
All right, so we have from 4 to 9 people that may have been injured due to this incident that happened. Some imams spoke on it, such as the brother Shadi Muhammad, Abdullah. He spoke on the incident itself. Other imams came together to speak on the incident that occurred as well. But the only one out of the people of Philadelphia that most than likely had some sort of idea of what is a possibility of fixing the situation that occurred in the future was Shadid Muhammad, which he got a lot of backlash, as people may see. From my understanding, he had close to like 2,000 comments, man, just dealing with the of what he's saying. He said that he's not giving any shahadas until they fall underneath the criteria, these criteria that need to be met.
I think,
and then he's only giving a shahada.
That was how I look at it. Just with that, I didn't even bother listening to it because it probably would have influenced my whole approach towards today's program. But I say it, and I say it all the time. And you can testify. I say it all the time. People that's not in Philadelphia that constantly talk about Philadelphia incidents and happenings are no more than just social media hawks, just like looking for clicks.
Right.
Because truthfully, you can say woulda, coulda, shoulda, and don't understand the dynamics here. Philadelphia is a place where people are constantly, are taking shahada, but then you also have generational Muslims.
Right.
So what you have is the way that things affect the Philadelphia community is an exposure to if Black America does not embrace Islam as this Deen in totality, this will be the results of what you're looking at. It's
right.
Almost like with the immigrant community. A lot of the second, third generation American-born immigrants, they have the same problems that Americans have. The same exact problems, really not much different. Like you mentioned about cities like Patterson, where they have, Arab gang members, and they're not the only place. I'm just mentioning that because that's
right.
You had as an example. But so this is what this incident is. And there's a lot of other things. There's not one thing that you can point to say that this is what's going to fix this problem, because it's not. Uh, the incident that happened is just a systemic breakdown. It's an overflow. To give you like a geographical, idea what's going on, where the masjid is at, where in there is like neighboring territories that's ran by little sets, crews, gangs, whatever you want to call it, right? That's neighboring on both ends, on all ends. You got 58th Master up that way, 60th Lands down, all that. You got the bottom, you got the pit, you got all that going on in West Philly, and so it's right there in the middle. Many of these young boys, and their ages are young, they're all, youthful. They're like 15, 16, 17, 18, they're all teenagers. And they all go to the same local schools.
Right.
Right. They go to the two highest schools, the Mastery, Overbrook. Sometimes some of the other ones like Paul Robeson and other schools or whatever. But that also plays a part. So because the Muslim children are attending and being influenced by the kuffar, because the 20 years ago, when I was younger, more so closer, more in the teens and coming up, that would be the black man's fight. It's about music. We gotta have music this, music that, and being American and identifying it. So you want to be recognized with Muslim recognition and Muslim accolades, but our lifestyle is still the same lifestyle that we had before Islam. You might minus out. You may be able to minus out drugs, but it's only like certain type of drugs. There's some drugs in the past have been replaced with newer drugs, right? With the alcohol, there won't be too many Muslim homes you'll visit where you won't find either an empty bottle of Hennessy or Old Crown Royal. They keep it as souvenirs, or it's literally active that they're actively drinking it. So the lifestyle is still in existence. So it's a systemic breakdown. You have the head of household, the male is missing from the household. The family structure broken down. Or you may have the household that's ran generations of matriarch, mother-led households, and so on and so forth. And the people, they try the best they can with their Islam. If you listen to a lot of the local Muslim drill rappers and listen to some of their lyrics, it's always mentioned Umi. Umi told me to say mashallah. Umi told me how to pray. Umi did this. Umi did that. Umi did this. Umi did that. My pops, he was dead, or my pops was in jail, or my pops was this, my pops was that. It is always usually something where it requires, where it's indicating of absence. Then you have you have various types of households, family-led households, and it's a systemic breakdown. The communal life is really almost like non-existent. Most people don't really have an imam until they have an issue.
Right, that's true.
Most people don't have an imam until they have an issue. Then when they have an issue, that's when they find an imam. You see what I'm saying? The youth is never really included in the masjid. They're always taught and treated like the little young boys sit over there and shut up. Or here, we need to put a basketball court outside the masjid so the kids can play. They're not really knowledgeable of Islam. They know certain things about Islam, to create a code that they realize, well, I'm Muslim and I don't stand up to pledge allegiance, right? Many Muslim kids do that. I'm Muslim and I don't eat pork. Many kids do that. But most of the kids, when they're in school the whole day long, many of them don't make salat, right? And now,
right.
Except for Ramadan, right? Like, okay, we're going to organize, everybody so that they could make salat and, et cetera, et cetera, And so what's happening is you're having this generational breakdown.
Yep, but Imam Khalil, do you know that's only, happens in our schools? Because if you go into these places like Cherry Hill, Palmyra, where else is a big Pakistani, and Bengali community at as well, around this area.
Mm-hmm.
That's local to me. I think even Burlington Township now,
Right.
right, Lenape too. They have, their youth, the teenagers themselves, are standing up, talking to the board administration to have a prayer area when it's time to pray.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But with us, it's like our kids. Do our kids really care about that it's time for salat, or they still want to hang with the other crowd that feel like they're involved with them? That's the question I would like to ask. How do you feel about that?
It would happen more, and I've seen some young people that the young people that I've seen come out fairly decent is the ones who hold on to Islam and the ones whose parents make the Deen a priority. As just speaking from the position of leadership. I've known some young brothers, like one brother I used to have, he was one of my students when I used to run a madrasa down South Philly. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, the last I seen, I haven't spoke to his family in a long time, but I know he was on his way to medical school.
That's
He
good.
was a typical
Congratulations,
kid.
man.
They kept him, basically kept him in the masjid, martial arts. He was in every Arabic class, every Quran class. He went to school. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he went to regular school like other kids. He wasn't into nothing. He was just like in the popular crowd, he'd been considered like corny or lame. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that was just how he was. And there's quite a few other brothers. Sheikh Hanif's son, his mother homeschooled him. I think he's finishing up memorizing Quran over at Cuba Institute. You know, memorizing Quran. There's a lot of young guys I know it's like that. And I'm talking about Black Americans. Where Islam was part of their everyday life. You have other children. Some of their problem is there's a mixture. They have a mixed culture. You know what I'm saying? And some of it's due to the environment, and some of it gets overshadowed because environment plays a lot in our molding. Sometimes it's stronger than our knowledge of the actual, the scripture, Islam. It's actually stronger than that, right? Like if you ever grew up with Jehovah Witnesses in your community? I'm talking about prior to Islam.
I grew up with them.
Yeah,
No.
I grew up with Jehovah Witnesses in our community, and they were kind of like they went to school, they mixed with us, but they were standoffish.
Well,
You know what I'm
I knew
saying? They
one.
didn't
I knew
embrace
a
you like that,
girl. Yeah, I knew
huh?
a girl that she herself. It was two Jehovah
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses. One of them. This was in township though. One name was Alexis and one name was Stacia. But
Okay.
how you said they were standoffish? Them two wasn't standoffish.
Well, now these kids I'm thinking about, they were kind of standoffish,
Right.
and they will mix with you, but you'll kind of get that vibe like they ain't on what you want. We ain't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we go to the same school and all that. We even live in the same project, but we ain't like that. You don't worship Jehovah. They had a code. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like when you in the South with them country, them real country Christians, Bible thumpers. You know what I'm saying? They got a certain vibe with them. You be like, yeah, you know what? I'm cool, man. Let me go ahead and get up out of here. What I found with the Muslim children, you don't have that same code. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that same code. Not with all of them. You know what I mean? So not to spend a whole lot of time on that, but what the brother Imam Shadid Muhammad was talking about is not applicable. It's really against Islam to say you're going to withhold someone's shahada is really kufr. You know what I'm saying? The push and delay someone or deny them a shahada. Hold up, we can't let you take shahada yet because of, and nowhere in Islam supports that type of idea. Now, when you're in a different environment, like a prison environment, where you mentioned about Imam Salam setting up that type of institution, you know, it was to weed out those people, but it never stopped them from taking shahada. And truth be told, even if you look in our Islamic history, how did Umar ibn Khattab die? There was a man who played like he was Muslim, right? And he stabbed him while he was in Salah. You see what I'm saying? So you'll never be able to stop this type of infiltration, infiltration in the ranks. But that situation that happened at Philadelphia Masjid that day, that wasn't a infiltration of the ranks. It would sound good to take the blame and the spotlight off of the community, and try to take away that black eye. But the reality of it is that joint is jahiliyyah nonsense that some of our brothers and sisters is caught up in, spilt over into the ummah.
Right. And I broke that down to someone, right? And but the city itself, right? Like, I said to you, Shadid needs to, not mix Jersey politics with Philadelphia politics. For one, their politics is completely different than ours.
Right.
They're witnessing what the state of New Jersey went through, right? Because at one time we had 3 of the most dangerous cities in the United States, right?
Right.
That was Trenton, Newark, and Camden, all in 1 year.
Right.
And this was during the peak of when color banging was at its high.
Right.
And these are just the most 3 biggest cities out of the state, right? But all the smaller cities witnessed it too because the gangs is everywhere.
Right.
I just showed someone. I said that Burlington County in 2014 had 101 gangs. Newark had 177. We had a higher population of gangs in the county. The state, but our city is only the hell from the township to the city. It only has 48,000 people. Right. So I was saying the reason why, our gang violence is high in the South region is due to us having the accessibility of weapons that the North can't get because they're next to New York, which gun laws are even stricter than in Philadelphia. Right. Another major city. Philadelphia gun laws aren't stricter. So you're going to have these private cities have more activity than the northern ones at their time because we have more accessibility to firearms. Right. So going to what I was saying is that, they're just witnessing when they had gangs. Then, if you want to call them gangs, I call them cliques, right?
Right.
Like the 80s and I used to call them cliques, right? Right. I used to call them cliques at the time because the organization didn't really come into what can we say when they really got organized?
Probably 2000s.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this is when so everything they had cliques, but now these kids are repping something. And it's just not their neighborhood. They may click up with another squad from West Philly and they call themselves OTG so-and-so. You get what I'm saying? This is repping something bigger than just what is local. You understand what I'm saying? So now Philly is just witnessing that when it comes to not organized crime, but gang culture. And a lot of these imams don't know how to combat it because they never witnessed kids claiming something to this caliber. And dying for what they claiming. So what I say, I understand, like again, like if he would have said, I'm not giving this off until I see what's going on, he would have been safer. But to make it a standard.
Let me ask you this: when the Imam got murdered some months back, Rahmatullahi alayhi, you didn't even hear this much. You didn't hear this much public criticism. But because it's with Philly, then it becomes like this whole thing that happened in Newark. The 2 biggest metropolitan areas with indigenous Black American Muslims is Newark, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Newark, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is the 2 largest metropolitan cities in the United States with a high population of African American Muslims.
Right.
Philly's the bigger of the 2 cities, but Newark Islam is ingrained in its DNA and all the surrounding cities near Orange, East Orange, South Orange, all that. You can go up there and feel comfortable being Muslim.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
And dressing Muslim, looking Muslim, the whole shenanigans.
Right. There's a lot of history involved in it too, because one of the things I can't sweep it under the rug and pretend. There's a role that Philly and Newark played in the NOI too. There's a role that Philly and Newark also played in the 60s, 70s, and all that, and with his mixture with the Black Mafia and JB and all that stuff too. Islam was involved in it as well. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain extent, there's this empathy towards criminality, right? You know, like myself, I've been through the channel, the streets, and all them things, but I wasn't Muslim in the streets. I was a Catholic,
Right.
So Islam was my saving grace. So most people, we don't look at it in the same light versus somebody who's been born, raised in the streets, and they still in the streets even after being a Muslim.
Right, correct.
We don't see the world the same. You see what I'm saying? So that in and of itself is an epidemic. That in and of itself is a problem. But one thing that I've noticed that has been stripped away from the inner city Islamic community amongst the youth, is that Islam doesn't stop them from drilling. It doesn't stop them at all. It takes precedence. Matter of fact, some of the practices is practices that leads to kufr, that's tantamount to kufr. When you swearing on the set, on the dead homies, on four of them, and on this and on that, that's kufr. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, yo, you know, if a person like, yo, you know, such, he may have this homeboy's homie, because that's where you know, it's almost like, all right, ain't no more words. You diss my dead homie. You smoking on whatever pack. It's on now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that takes precedence over making peace between Muslims.
Right.
Then the other party is that a lot of us from the older generation is kind of like just sitting on the sideline, oblivious to what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? The newer generation is like, you know, like Shakur saying, sound like Shakur, like, you know, like Shakur saying, the new generation's ignorance is wild. They're different even from the earlier gangs. And everybody used to be that limit that was drawn that we ain't gonna, you know, we're not gonna do this, you know, Muslims or women and children. And you know, the line is no longer there. So, you know, someone to take up, draw arms and to draw and shoot at someone in that public gathering like an Eid is no different than a 4th of July barbecue shooting. Because that's how they see it. They ain't see no difference between the kimars, overgarments, stoves, izars, and none of that.
Because to them, this stuff is, you know, forgive me, the city of Philadelphia, to them.
Huh?
To them, I says to them. I'm not saying, you know, everyone, because like you said, it's some great Muslims in that city. But to some people, they feel as though it's just a costume. And I know it may hurt to say.
They just look at it as like, you know,
it's attire. It's okay. You know, we wear it. It's what we do. Just thinking, yeah, this. I'm speaking of a hood mentality.
I'll give you a better way. I'll give you a better way to describe it. You know what it reminds me of? Secularism. We separate politics and state. The masjid is just the masjid. This is our state right here. This is our thing. So they don't see it, because even think about it. Even, you know, the warring fractions where Muslims used to war, you know, in the neighborhoods in the past. We used to come to the rug. They would go to the masjid to get a parlay in order to squash the beef.
But that's something that it used to be for. But I'm not even talking about the masjid itself. I'm speaking of the attire, right? The attire. Some of us would look at it as it's piety. It keeps me safe for prayer. Some of us look at, man, this is what we do. This is what we do out here. You know, and one thing, you know, some of y'all laughed at and I didn't like, you know, I don't like that thing that the Muslims were trying to do. I'm Muslim, you know, of course I'm from Philly. I'm a Philadelphia Muslim. I do so-and-so. I think it was mockery because some people took it out of hand. They started explaining the faults that we have out here, and you don't care about it. That's what we do out here. You get what I'm saying? And to a degree, that ain't cool what we do in certain places. It's not cool to be that way.
No, it's fact.
It ain't cool to be that. It ain't cool to question somebody, be like, yeah, of course I'm a Philadelphia Muslim, and my people gonna ask me if I'm marrying for a man. That ain't cool.
Right.
That ain't cool. You marry because it's a sunnah.
Right.
Some of this, the behavior, some of it ain't cool. But again, when it goes back to what I said, we had a hierarchy in our state, right? And I was talking to you, like you said to me a couple of days ago, they don't have no big homies. When the incident happened, like I said, I never really wanted to bring it up. When the incident happened to the Imam in Newark, I called every hood.
Right.
From the 60s to the Grapes. I even called some of the Hoovers. I called some of the Brims. I called some of the Sex Murder homies. Do y'all know this guy? You know what set is up there? What set is on that corner? Oh, that's a Brim hood. Call so and so. Some guys that wear the caps here. Call them up. See what's going on. Da 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 da. You can do that. Who can you do to the masses of the youth in Philadelphia when they're out of control?
Well, wait a minute. Tell them what the OG said though. They don't know who that is. They said these young boys out of control. I mean, you told me.
Yeah.
They ain't got no handle on them like that.
Yeah.
He's doing their own thing now. So that handle is gone.
Exactly. But you still I could have still found out what set is over there. They may be renegade sets, but you're gonna know who is over there repping what.
Right.
You can't even start with for one, Philadelphia. I think the time that they give in Pennsylvania destroyed a lot of the elder guys that was out there, right? Like even with Jersey, right? You may do a crime. It may be you may got light at the end of the tunnel. It might be 85%, but you got some light at the end of the tunnel if it's a violent crime. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't be giving you crazy numbers until you like a mass murderer.
Right.
You catch a body out here, you might get 15. You get what I'm saying? 15 with 85, 2085, do about 15 off the 20. You got light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Well, it's just all a matter of who you kill.
No, I'm just saying the masses, but it normally be when it's crazy. Like a lot of the guys who get time, they find out these guys got 2 bodies, guns galore. I said from what I've seen, a lot of guys that got caught with the bodies, they got some time, but it came with a robbery behind it. The robbery hold more rank than the murder itself in Jersey.
That's what I'm saying. Think about it. The thing that's hot. Whatever.
If I just catch a body, I'm coming home.
Whatever crime is the hot crime politically, that's what's gonna get hit with the most time. Bodies drop on a regular basis, so they let dudes in and out because you already seen how they cleaned up the 90s going into the 2000s, where they locked everybody up for 1 gram of coke, giving them 20, 30 years for that stuff. Some dudes are just now actually just getting out of prison, just now. So It's really an extermination and a genocide. That's the other thing that people aren't, taking in consideration as well.
I seen guys in Pennsylvania get hit with some crazy time. Like, what? You got caught with what? And you got what?
Yeah, it's a genocide. Think about it. One of the comments said the Muslims lost control of you. No, it is our children. It's our children who out here doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's the Muslims is our age range now, because I don't know, what it is we're missing. I don't know. It's because of the lack, because, my age range on down, we're like the age of the quitters. We like to quit. We the kid that like to quit on the team. Like, man, you ain't even pass me the ball. I'm out of here. And that's what most of the guys are doing. They walk away from the community. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine and well if you really had a real plan. If you know what I'm saying? So people are quitters. You know what I'm saying? And so then when you quit, you ain't like, making sure the children we'll take our kids to football practice, especially even moms, single moms. That's like Single Mom Valley when you go to these local AAU football games and basketball games and stuff like that. But you won't see them driving them to the masjid at the same time on Saturday. Because normally with sports, there's some aspiration that they'll eventually make some money off this dunya. But it ain't like that with Deen. If you ask them for a $10 fee, for a class on $10 a month for a Quran class, or for somebody teach a child Arabic, they be hemming and hawing. But the child, in order to go play football in Florida, the parents got to come up with $500 per kid. You notice you got the full football team. So our priorities are in the wrong place. So some of this what we're experiencing is our own doing. You cannot live a neglectful life or step out of bounds and sit back like I'm good over here. Y'all niggas is crazy. Just like Allah Ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ said, when Allah Ta'ala sent the angels to destroy that town, they found that righteous family there. And they went back, pleaded with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said, destroy them all. Many of us are in that same situation. We think we that pious family. I'm cool. I keep to myself. I ain't worried about nothing. So then when Allah Ta'ala allows this havoc to wreak, you get caught up in it and you ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
And then let's not forget that the shaitan attacks the person who is away from the Jama'at.
Yeah.
So you think you're doing this? That's an arrogant feel. That's arrogance. Exactly. You think you're the only one doing good and everybody else is bad. That's arrogance.
That's shaitanic.
That's shaitanic. If you think you're the only person doing good and everybody else is crazy, me and my family good, I'm gonna make sure me and my family good. We good. How do you know you good, I think?
Right. But we'll turn that blind eye to our own problems and then be screaming Palestine. I don't have a problem with Palestine. I don't have a problem supporting Palestine. But what happened to Philadelphia and Palestine, Gaza up here in Philly, Gaza in Newark? What happened to Gaza in New York? Gaza in Chicago? We're blind to our own. We don't have enough.
What's Chicago? Chirac. They call it Chirac. They call it Chirac.
Chirac.
That's a third world country, Habibi. They call their city a third world country.
Yeah. So these are things that are happening, but we have to take the initiative ourselves. That's what's mission as well. We want a savior. We want a savior. Who you looking for? That mystery God, that spook to come save you? You looking for a savior to roll up. You have it. You have it. The Quran, the Sunnah. It's just that people have to collectively want it. And most your average imam, he's over the hill. He's an old head. The young imams don't move like that. Most of them are like I said, online celebrities.
I broke that down to someone too. I said, why you think, I said this, Ameen. I said, why you think, Hassan Samali, and I'm speaking on, like I said, the people, we all seen that he tried to, at one point, I gotta spank him on the rear for this. At one point, it was haram for them to interact with these rappers, right?
Right.
It's clear that you watch his videos, he'll say, these rappers, I don't want nothing to do with you. You remember he was on that high horse at that one time, right? We all know he was on that high horse. But somehow he had to connect up with Dirk.
Right.
Why do you think he had to connect with Dirk?
Right.
Because the youth, they're influenced by him.
No.
They idolize that man. So he tried to do it, but also, I don't want to say anything else how I feel, but I understand. But you went against your own morals and principles to try to do this, but go out there with them same shooters that used to be shooters back in 1988 and go clean up your neighborhood.
Right.
You may have to die. Like you said, some people got to go. I might have to go. You might have to go. Kids may have to go. Right. Well, I'm not saying your kids, but God, people younger than us, right? Right? So I don't want, want nobody saying that he's a kid killer on this channel. You know what I mean? Where this is public record. But people may have to go to clean up their community. But in reality, we praise being from the hood. We like being from a jacked up hood.
We use it to our advantage. We use it to our advantage. So this type of ideology is not going to build the future. So what's the solution? The solution is quite a few things you can do as a solution, but it's really to do opposite of everything we're talking about. One is that if you're not with the community, you have to become part of, fully invested, man, woman, and child. Keep your kids in activities, where it's Islamically influenced, right? There's nothing wrong with, your son or daughter, playing ball and things of that nature. But, you have to make sure that Salat is paramount, that is important. Islam is at the top of the key, the top of the realm. You can't do this thing part-time. It has to be full-time. You know what I mean? It has to be full-time. The masjid has to be the epicenter. It has to be the center of the community. And, and it's strange because in every neighborhood, there's a masjid, but the people in that neighborhood don't necessarily go to that masjid. There's a neighborhood in every masjid, but that masjid, that neighborhood, the people in that neighborhood don't necessarily go to that masjid. Because it wasn't really like a community planning type thing anyway. Most masajids are just bought there because the building was cheap, nice location, give dawah, and the people live all over the place. So, that's also something that, to take and keep in consideration with regards to that as well. But it has to be. It's no need to feel hopeless.
Excuse me.
Because it's not over. If the trumpet ain't blown, you still got life. The Quran is still in existence, right? There's still believers. There's still people saying La ilaha illallah. Then that means that there's still good to come out of this dunya. But, right. However, I think this is a time where you have to take in consideration your spiritual state, where you are spiritually, your iman, your family. Cling hard to Allah Ta'ala's deen and stick with those people who are on that deen as much as possible, as much as you can. Make every effort to exert it, or consider leaving and making hijrah. You have to make hijrah anyway, because part of the problem is that sometimes we end up staying in the area that we did dirt, and then our children grow up in that area.
Yeah, Imam Allah Ta'ala spoke about going back to a place where you have committed sin.
Yeah, you have to
not to go
that.
back.
You have to take that into consideration. And we don't like to change comfortability. But usually, like if it was a job offering or something, some kind of lucrative thing with regards to dunya, we'll consider it. We don't care. We'll
Abdullah, Zayd, Muhammad, Fatima, come on, pack up. We about to leave today. We about to stay in the car.
Town where they ain't even a masjid at. Let's go.
We out of here. We out of here. I got a good job out there. We figure it out.
Like, Abby, what about the masjid? Man, we'll figure it out. We make our own masjid, son.
We pray in the house, let alone the pops saying, Alhamdulillah, wa Ameen, Rahman,
no. You gotta go old school on them, Saleh. You gotta go old school on them. They use the hadith. They tell the truth, but they intend to lie. The whole world is a masjid.
Whole world is a masjid. We could pray right at the house. I'm leading you, Salah. I'm chipping the whole fatty out. So since we all related, you know what I mean, you ain't got to cover, wife. You know what I mean, you just pray like that. You know what I mean? But this is the reality. But jumping back on that, right? Like going back to this conversation, right? I also had a conversation with somebody. I said, "Yo, before Ramadan, we was like you said, we was making diss records about each other. I'm dissing your homie. I told you in this record how we killed your homie, right? I tell you who killed your homie in this same record, right?
Okay.
Then all of a sudden, this beautiful month come along. We don't really see each other because we all trying to fast. Then we got this Islamic spirit. But I caught this person who killed my homie and said he's smoking on a little Zaza pack. He's standing right there in front of me. What you think I'm gonna do? And what you think? What we think was gonna happen?
No.
And these ain't adults with people who can be like, "Yo, I'm gonna let this guy slide because we here," right?
Right.
They're not adults. We're talking about a 15-year-old kid who just ate a whole bunch of sugar, thinking with just pure adrenaline and testosterone is just everything is just overly hyped. See the person who killed his best friend. What we think was going to happen?
Right.
Did we think the outcome was going to be good?
Mm-mm. Nah, not at all.
So outside of Ramadan, we got to stop praising I don't care if you listen. If you listen to rap, go ahead. You listen to whatever's going on. Hey, you involved with the Kendrick and the Rick Ross and the Drake beef that's going on. Cool. See, I know, cool. That's cool. Go ahead. Do it on your own time. Cool. But to the point where Islam is thrown out the window once we close our doors. That's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
Some of these kids know mommy ain't on this type of time. He 15 years old, was packing a joint. Like, did you just let him walk off, or did y'all go as a community, as a family together? Or Lil Ray was out by himself walking to the Eid prayer? We got to ask ourselves that. You didn't know Lil Man had a Glock 19 with a 30 packed inside his Izard. You didn't know that?
Right.
When he was getting dressed, when y'all was all waiting? Or did you say, go ahead, I'm not going? Can we even question, was his mom there? Were their moms there?
Right.
Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best. Because I didn't see them say anything about the parent. Did they even question the parents?
It might not even been there. That joint is like, so, like, for instance, like, we prayed together that same day. All my children were talking about going up there. It was like the hangout.
Right, and that was afterwards, right? After they did what they did with us, correct?
No. It was after we made Salat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. After they did what they did with us, correct?
Listen, though, as a parent, as a father, I was like, all right, go ahead. I know that's where all the youngest is at. They want to go to Clan Muhammad. That was their twist. You was either going to Chalmers or you was going to Clan Muhammad, right? Now I forgot last year at Clan Muhammad they popped off.
They had that big riot there, right? They had they was fighting there.
Somebody pulled out. These dudes pulled out straps on each other. They pulled out straps on each other. Straps out there.
So Nabawiyah was the fight, right? Nabawiyah had to fight.
They had to fight Chalmers, at the park.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what y'all gonna do. That's what y'all gonna do. One thing and none of it. Just like, my kids gonna go, to the Muslim gathering, but they never went. My wife went over there. My ex-wife was there, but my kids was with me, right? Last year, she took them last year, and, with all that was going on, she lost my son in the mix. Bro, my mind totally went absent and forgot all about that. I'm driving. I got 2 calls simultaneously. One from my wife, one from my ex-wife. Yo, they up here shooting. They still shooting. Phones got disconnected. But less than like 90 seconds later, they called back. They still shooting. Hung up again. My wife, she got up out of there. She was driving. My ex-wife, she said she was stuck in the parking lot because there was so many people. People was getting trampled on. Little girl got ran over by a car. Everything. And I'm like, subhanAllah. You know what I'm saying? And remember, we was just down South Philly just a little while before that happened too. Ahmed, his family, his children went up there.
His daughters went up there, yeah.
Yeah. And, so we wasn't thinking nothing of it. You get what I'm saying? We wasn't thinking nothing of it. Only we thinking about, okay, all right, cool. It's the Eid. They're going to be chilling. Okay, fine. You see what I'm saying? That joint, anything it's almost like I got to live by that bias. Anything with the age of 13 and up and more than 10 people, you got to avoid those kind of scenes. You got to avoid those kind of scenes. Otherwise, it's going to be catastrophic. You might end up dealing, might end up having to deal with a janazah or something like that.
It's understandable, and not, like I said, sometimes we don't think, but I'll be just so much alert with certain stuff. Like, we know how it get, in these places sometimes. Sometimes I could be labeled as the mean guy, like, nah, we ain't off that, right? But sometimes it's for that. But like you said, your intentions as well. But again, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, man, they all 4 poles. Either somebody was passing it out like hotcakes, or some they was all going home to go get polling and with intentions in the Mala'amalu Biniyat. These are based upon intentions, or intentions to go over there and line something up.
Well, they got some of the dudes on camera. I don't know if you had seen it on Instagram, where the dude's passing the other dude the pole,
That's what I'm saying. Or he was somebody was, but that's what I'm saying here. Take the pole.
But listen, This also is an educational failure too, because on the Eid, what is known about the Eid? The Prophet ﷺ said, "What? Don't bring weapons to the Eid."
Right.
That's even if you had ops out there, you're supposed to avoid that as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, what about the hadith of two Muslims that were fighting each other? One died, the other one didn't. He said the Prophet said both of them was going to hell.
Yeah,
they
because
understood
somebody,
about the one who killed, but what about the one that got killed? He said
because
his
it's essentially
intentions
what the
killed
same.
him.
Exactly. And the mala'ana lubiniyat, these are based upon intentions.
So
What was
these
our
are
intentions?
these you know, and you got a lot of people who hate hadith, or they play hadith against fiqh against hadith and things of this nature. But this is what develops a code. You need these hadiths in order to develop code by people to behave by. I could be a shooter and be a faqih, go by all the fiqh books and ignore all the hadiths. I'll be a shooter. Those hadith is a portion of revelation, and it has to be followed. These are basic things. You teach children that they shouldn't fight another Muslim in the household with their brothers and sisters, which translates over to your other brother and sister outside of the household. These things aren't being emphasized no more. Education is not emphasized no more. It's not championed. What's championed is you to be able to fight. Can you fight? Let me see you throw a punch. If he hits you, you better hit him back. That's what you're ingraining your children on the way out the door.
Right. You ask them to recite Quran. Why are you putting them on the spot? Why ain't you putting them on the spot? I told him to let me see his jab. And when he learned it from boxing, you want him to throw a whole combination on me. Yeah, let me see, young. Come on, let me see. Yeah, I know you training with so-and-so. Let me see you throw your hands. Beep, 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 beep. You let him throw them punches. Let me hear you say how fat you at. Why you putting them on the spot like that? What do you mean on the spot? You on the spot like what? You don't mind him being a little Bruce Leroy when I said, let me see your karate moves, right?
Bro, listen. We would put them in unlimited sports, all day, every day video games, fist fighting, cussing, and rapping. But when it comes to anything Islamic, it's a problem. We're not holding our families accountable. We're not holding our communities accountable. You see what I'm saying? So you have to go back to base. This is just a systemic failure. This is systematic failure. That's all it is. And this is the results of it. It's a systematic failure. And it's also a lack of esteem, lack of self-love. If you had self-love is promoting things like, look, we Muslim, we don't do that kind of stuff. Muslims don't even get involved in that. That's promoting self-love. It's a self-hatred thing that we got going on. You see what I'm saying? So, the more you hate Islam, or not even verbally hate it, think that Islam is insignificant comparison to what the kuffar do, and you look up to that, that's where you're gonna have, you have your problem at. That's your goal. That's why our example is Habibullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and amongst those who are righteous who follow them. But for some reason, it ain't right unless the pants are tight. You see what I'm saying? Unless we dressing like everybody else. And it's only natural you're going to follow that, because you don't minimize what your eyes see. Allah tells you in the Quran not to gaze upon what the kuffar has. Not to gaze, because we gaze upon it in awe. We look at it, we see it, be like, yo, that joint fire. I'm going to go get it. And they go back and get it. It according to your money level. If you got big money, you be like, yo, I'm going to go get that Maybach. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to get that. Boom. And then you go get it. Everybody be like, yo, son, you got that joint. Yeah, I see.
Yo, the Ak put up in the Maybach with his Yemeni Izar.
Right. Right.
Yo, we are foolish, bro.
Yeah,
we foolish,
Malik, we did say this. Now, there's a multi-directional dynamic with the absenteeism of fathers. You got some fathers, some absenteeism is based on how the situation began, right? Some absenteeism is circumstantial. They may be locked up. And I ain't talking about somebody doing food. They could be locked up, whatever, right? Some absenteeism or fatherism could come from, the parents not together no more and they weaponize and use the child as the weapon. Some absentee fatherism, is based on all of that. None of it is an excuse, but this also plays part in that. And we have mentioned that early on, the broken home. Right? We have very little value and very little esteem for marriage. People will leave the family. You have a whole family and I don't like this, I'm out of here. That's what people are doing now. We used to condemn brothers who used to do that, right? Would just basically roll out, leave the family over nonsense, right? But today we're having the same thing even amongst our sisters.
But even with that, Imam Khalil, now it's to the point where now I think, like you said, y'all used to shun that, right? But now I think is a lot of people are willing to get out of something because they can't create nothing with each other anymore. When you can create something, right? Despite how it is, a sister will fight for her marriage if children are involved. Sometimes men want to get out because some of us can't protect ourselves. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? We get up out of there because we just want to get up out of there. We want to play, and sometimes responsibility ain't our thing, right? So right. That's one of the problems I think Malika is trying to push to too. That is a problem. But nowadays, from the men and the sister, because it's not just the lack of that. It's the lack now that no one wants to create families because some of us can't even create families with each other, despite whatever it is, right? And because we're not creating families, it's easy to get up and leave something that you don't have no ties with.
You saying creating family? You talking about a person who can't get pregnant, or
one of those? Compatibility, can't get pregnant, all these type of things. So if you don't have nothing holding y'all together besides Islam, to the point where it's going to be to the point when it's just like that, I'm gonna have to oversee your bad and try to find the good. Right. And sometimes we may not even enter into this marriage with good intentions. So now it's like, what am I here for if there's no good I can see out of this? You suffer from trauma, I'm suffering from trauma. We in this marriage trying to come together. Everybody got trauma. What am I supposed to do now? Everybody trying to route from the man to the women. They trying to get low.
To respond to this. I think everybody comes into marriage with an immature mind state, honestly. Because one, we don't have examples. The only example we have, every example that we have of a good marriage and so on and so forth, a lot of this, our example, some of our non-Muslim relatives, right? Maybe like, well, Uncle, Auntie Hattie Mae and Uncle Clifford, they stayed together forever. Yeah, but Uncle Clifford got like 6-7 kids out of wedlock. Yeah. They just all show up at the funeral. They're not a good example. We all coming in with an immature mind state, and the thing is that we gotta get better. Now, the stronger your iman is, the more you incline to your deen, the better you're gonna become. You know what I'm saying? If you got a man that had a heavy hand, was always whooping on women, the more he learns and he knows in Islam that's not how it's supposed to go, then he turns into that person. Because a lot of times, even as the imam myself, when you speak on a thing, and the person in your Jamaat may be guilty of that thing you're talking about, right? That there's that feeling like, damn, is there any hope for me? Right? And this is why you always have to give them that leeway out. Think about it. The Prophet ﷺ, people got to be able to be vulnerable with you, right? The man, the woman, remember the story of the man, he came and said, Ya Rasulullah, I committed adultery. Prophet ﷺ ignored him 3 times before he listened to him. You have to be able to have that ability to be vulnerable with a person. We don't always have that vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that with that person. We always got a mask on. When you sit down, when I do marriage counseling, I sit down and listen to the person. And sometimes I don't react right away on a person saying I want to be out, right? They say that, and then 6 hours later, you turn around, they back together again. Right? Because there's a mask. There's always a layer there. You know, so the maturity comes based upon your spiritual growth, based upon your development in your deen. That's where the maturity develops at. Because you have a lot of men and a lot of women who may know a lot of Islam, but they're very immature. They don't have no social, no politically, they're not politically astute. You know what I'm saying? At all. Like now, I still got a stalker right now. He making posts about me, talking about Imam Naeem every time. This dude's knowledge is good, but he's a clown. He's just nonstop, just won't quit. Right? And here, this same person finger wagging at people, telling them, you know, they should fear Allah and do these type of things, but he can't help himself. Every opportunity he get, he blocked me on all social media and make posts about me and talk about me all day long. That's immature. I don't care how much Arabic you quote, how many dhikr and outrad you do. That's immaturity. So we're all learning how to immature. Everybody got that inner nigga in them that they gotta let go. And this is the result of it. The problem is that these younger kids, the things that they're doing, there ain't no coming back from it once you take somebody's life.
But Imam Khalil, not to quote you off, I got to get close to the screen. No, I'm not taking my petty hat off though. but you know, but all jokes aside, you're right. These young guys ain't nothing coming back after that.
Coming back after that, man.
Right. And then I seen, right, you know, not to talk about the other brother, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make his grave spacious, right? What's the young kid that got Big G's, what's his name?
Oh, Fat G's.
Fat G's.
Yeah.
He went outside clutching, right?
Yeah.
Rule number one, you should tell your brother the odds is against you. Right? It just shows that, you know, the elders that we used to, like, you know, I know that because I was schooled. Right. So again, it go back to where are these older guys at? But you know, except the father, forget fathers.
I don't think there would have been no intervention for that situation.
That's but no, I'm just no. But what I'm saying by that, I'm saying that you would have thought like, yo, bro, they in his car. This is a communist. This I'm not going to come to this door. That's what I'm saying.
The commentation on that is. It's still a thought that it was a setup, but then also on his behalf, Rahmatullahi alayhi, the brother, that his mom's house got shot up before. So he had like a certain level of paranoia or PTSD, whatever you want to call it. That's why he went out clutching. Now,
but I'm not going outside.
The problem is you can't go out clutching and not expect somebody not to, you know what I mean, to clutch back. But when you watch the whole thing from like all the different angles, it looked like it was just like a setup to draw him out the crib because they got him to come out to keep talking. He went to the car, and that's when they lit him up. But
that's what I'm saying. But I was schooled that if you see that environment, look, and I know I could protect myself here is the art of protection, right?
Right.
I have the advantage. In war, I have the advantage. We think about the word of better. We have advantage. So now I'm gonna take the advantage. Come to this house, I have a ring camera. Come to this door, I have a free kill. You have to make it through the door. But this goes from older people schooling you on the art of war. And I'm not saying to blame him. I'm just looking at that. What happened to all of the old guys that used to school us to be able to take these day-to-day joints into your life, right? These young kids, they move off emotions. Why they move off emotion? Because there's no men training them to be men.
But not only that, too, there's something happens when you got a firearm in your hand as a young man. You feel like you got power. You think you ascended. You think you became one with Allah.
But not even just that. Okay, let's go deeper.
You get a gun in your hand.
But let's go deeper.
Now got the power.
But let's go deeper. It's not even about that. See, we gotta listen to how they talk. They talk. It's just about upping the score.
Yeah,
ain't about the gun. It's just about I just want to up the score.
These are like real life Call of Duty to them.
It's Call of Duty, so it's not even about them thinking they got a gun because they know the op got a gun. It's about how he gonna maneuver. They really playing Call of Duty in the streets, and then putting it on screen. They put their kills on screen, which is Instagram and Facebook. That's what I'm saying. And Instagram and Facebook is the scoreboard. Yo, bro, we up one. You see them boys we got over there? Yeah, we up 2 on you. We up 2. And then remember I told you at the job, I said, yo, this is like the 1980s. Yo, meet me here. Let's take 10 paces back, and we're gonna shoot it out, see who wins. Yeah. This is crazy out here, bro. Yeah. But again, it's that, but they thinking like this too, is because if you really sat down and talked to these, because a lot of these are sons right? Because I'm old enough to now, because I have a 21-year-old. So I'm old enough to say these are our sons, these are our nephews. You sit down and talk to them and really pick their brain. You be like, yo, youngin, you ain't, you 2 eggs short of an omelet. That ain't how it goes.
Right.
And they're going to a degree, they're going to listen because they know, Abdullahi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change me, right? He changed me. In my neighborhood, they know I used to play.
Right.
So I tell you, this ain't how you play the game. And I mean play. They're going to say, yo, I'm telling you, I'm kind of right. I'm now. What's that joint you show, Imam Khalil? You now.
You
I'm
now.
I'm I'm happy I'm I've been an since I was 6 years old. I was an uncle. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm cool with being I've been a long time.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I've been since I was 6 years old. I was uncle. You know what I mean? So you talk to them, but you could see they don't really know how to maneuver the V. I think I was telling you too when we was in Atlanta, when me and the brothers went to Atlanta, and the guys was like, yo, we were scared to talk to you because we thought y'all was security guards because y'all big. But then we sat and talked to him, and I asked him, I said, yo, where did we go wrong at? He said, man, y'all ain't show us enough love and attention, man. Some 21-year-old kids said that to us, bro.
Yeah.
So that means we fell short. And I think due to incarceration, and I can't even say it's a lack of, because be real with you, I can't even say just a lot of marriage thing where I think incarceration played a major effect.
Well, then also too, man, it depends on your upbringing. If you grew up in a household where somebody was always putting hand and foot on you, you're going to put hand and foot on them kids too, whether they're yours or not.
All right.
You think that's the best thing for them? Let me beat them with an extension cord. I hit them with a baseball bat, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It has to go back to we have to want to change and we have to do the change. And when we got to want to change and do the change, we have to implement the lifestyle that Allah and His Messenger, has created for us. Right. There ain't no way you're going to get around that joint.
Yeah.
We still want to be cool at the same time. You can't be Killer Bilal.
They will call you. They will call you. No, you can. They call you Lao. That Bilal be going. Bilal be going. Now you little Lao, or OT or OGB Lao. That's your name now. You're gonna say OGB Lao. You know what I mean?
Call me Bilal up it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? or ABC Dooley. You get what I'm saying? They just go shorten it. But you must. Yeah, Jewel and Dool. You know what I mean?
Dooley with the Toolie.
Pause. Dooley with the. Bro, that's crazy. Hold on. Can I read Hanif's joint? Hanif made a good point, man. He said a lot of our households rely on the younger generations to build their Islam through social media outlets, just as they do with gaming and social platforms. And the motivation is not lined up the same. That's true. We're looking at, people. I hear people say all the time, I don't need to go to Jumu'ah. I could watch. To me, you should go. Gain suhbah, gain companionship. A lot of time when people don't want to go to the masjid, I don't want to be around people because you jacked up. You don't know how to be a friend to nobody.
Right.
Be a friend. Learn how to talk to some people. Hey, how you doing today? Did you have a good day? You see it's sunny outside. You like the weather? Be nice. Gain companionship. And we do, but then because they fall in love with these social media imams, they're picking up a lot of false beliefs, messed up beliefs, so I think that's a problem there, and then you're not and what another thing I don't like when kids be on their phones too much in the masjid too, because they don't know how to converse with each other anymore.
Right.
So, but you're right to a degree, Hanif.
Yeah. Well, all that human interaction is leaving, man. And then on top of that, all they witness all day is violence.
Right.
I'll tell you the event. I'll tell you where really I didn't think about. We was having a conversation. So when I was growing up, and it's tell my age, and those are in my age bracket, they know what I'm talking about. I don't know about other cities, but I know in New York.
That era?
That Kung Fu era, boy. That Kung Fu era. That joint come on around, was it 4:00? Kung Fu era on Channel 5. You go in, you go watch Kung Fu for an hour. You come outside, every little kid in the project.
Thank you, Bruce Lee. Thank you, Bruce Lee.
Yo, we used to make the bow staff out of the mop handles. We used to take the little chains
and break a tree branch, nail a chain in there, make nunchucks and everything, right?
And y'all doing the mouth thing. Pause. I will get you.
I'll get you
Today.
Yo, then also too, used to watch that morning, used to watch wrestling, 10 o'clock in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. So my case in point is all day long you were watching violence. Batman beating people up. Everybody was beating everybody up, right? Fast forward, as we got older towards the 90s, in the 2000s, everything on TV was somebody shooting somebody, right? What's some of the all-time most played video games right now?
Call of Duty,
GTA,
Fortnite, yep, GTA.
And Call of Duty and Fortnite. Little kids, well, I mean, adults play Fortnite too, but that's more little kiddish. But once they get up to that level, they go hit what? GTA, right? What are they doing in GTA? Some people actually play the missions. Some people just run around and just punch innocent bystanders in the face, steal their cars, drive all around the city, getting shootouts, and GTA do the same thing. What do you think that's doing to them psychologically? Because we used to come outside doing karate. So what you think they're going to do with that GTA joint once they get guns in their hands?
Yo, they really be doing that on GTA.
Yeah, just run around, just random, bow, just hit somebody. You know what I mean? That one GTA that they used to have, the one when it was supposed to be in New York, I forgot what one it is. I think it's 4, maybe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But anyway, so I used to play that joint, right? So what I used to do was I used to be bored, so I'll go to the hospital. I'll like shoot some cops and then run all the way to the hospital,
get you.
barricade myself in the hospital and see how many cops I can
cops
kill.
Cops come and be shooting the cops.
So you imagine what it has on the mentality of these kids, huh? Imagine the mentality that it has on these kids. You know what I mean? And then boom. So it's already like a violent culture.
Right.
And it's being pushed. They talking about smoking somebody, shooting them, rolling them in packs and all that stuff. That's where this is coming from. This is playing a major part. Alaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Somebody used to play the one in Portland punching.
Yeah, subhanallah.
He used to play the one in Portland punching hookers for no reason. Out of pocket.
But this is what develops your mind. If somebody ain't there telling you this, like, yo, the number one movie that was like I think it was 92, 91. And yo, you had to be mentally messed up. I hated that movie. You know what movie it was? Juice. Everybody thought they was Bishop. I thought something was wrong with the dude. I was like, yo, am I the only one that see that this dude got a mental problem?
He had a messed up household.
Yeah.
He was the one out of everybody. The household was messed up. What you call was messed up too, but he was, he was messing with an old head though. But yeah, Bishop had a messed up household.
Yo,
wasn't something wrong with his mom or something like that, or I don't know something.
I hated that movie. Everybody used to talk about like Bishop. I like New Jack City more. I was like, man, come on, man. Nino Brown more than Bishop. Bishop a broke dude.
Killing his friends. Prime example, we're going to back during the drill definition of backdooring your friends.
Yeah.
For clout. Juice for clout. That's what's going on now.
Yeah, he was, Shakur. He said Q was focused on making it out. He was. That movie was messed up, man. And don't forget, content has an intent. Everything that's made has an intention to do something. Oh, y'all seen him as a buster? Yeah, he was whack. Raheem Q, yeah, because they seemed like they was going somewhere. I hated that movie, man. Because
Sidebar: Raheem was a hater though. Raheem hated when old boy grabbed his girl up and drove off in that car.
Yeah, it's fun.
But all jokes aside, but juice is the reality of what is today. The backdooring part, lying to your homies to get them set up, to line them up, to get them killed. You know what I mean? She killing somebody for clout. This is what we're going through as we speak now. This we hear clout, backdoor, all this stuff is what is the prime example of what's going on. We got a lot of bishops running around, people who can't fight and got to pick up a firearm. You see, once his gun went down, he was getting hands, feet, and elbows put on him.
Yeah.
I never knew how he didn't run out of bullets. He shot 80 people and still had mad bullets in that little 38.
I'm telling you,
he had infinite gun. You know what I mean? He had a Call of Duty gun.
It's something when you put that joint in your hand, it takes over your brain. It takes over your brain. When a person buys a new gun, whether it's legal or illegal, they can't keep their hands off of it. They in the mirror posting up with it, taking pictures. It's nothing wrong with it. If you legal, eagle, there's no problem with that. But
what's the new one? What's the one that they're holding the 30? They're holding a 30 round magazine clip, hanging it from the gun. That's the new picture,
right? So, you know how common it is now for females to have straps? It's very common now. And every little argument goes from 0 to 100. Matter of fact, you already know I'll up this thing. If I up it, it's over. It's always like that. You know what I mean? As a Muslim, you got to have a better mindset and better restraint. We become warriors on a battlefield. And that's also another thing, too, is historically known, young people are bloodthirsty. Young people are bloodthirsty. That's why I usually put them in the military and things of that nature. Unfortunately, with the black youth, there's a stigma between us and the military because, it's a debate about, our citizenship, and what role we actually play in the society. So a lot of times, some people, when they, you find a lot of black Americans, when they join the military, they're not really looking at it like my country. It's more so, it's more so to get a couple dollars out of the GI Bill. You know what I mean?
And but so the thing now,
people that's bloodthirsty, they just end up getting part of a local gang.
But now, right now with the military, it's so Me Too-ish that the military guys can't even scream at the young boys to get them in line anymore.
No.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, what do we do? How do we solve this problem due to this over emotional world and society that we're giving in, that every scream, every yell is either coming from a hatred point of hating somebody or what's the other one they use? Racism and all, all this type of other stuff. Like, I can't verbally talk to you to get you straight anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's how do we?
Home. A lot of people. One thing I realized, some people where you don't have the type of parents that sit down and talk to you, like my son, right? My ex-wife, she wasn't the yelling type, right? Because the reason why I'm laughing, because my kids always like, oh my God, she about to start. So they get in trouble with her. When they get in trouble with her, she'll sit them down and talk to them for like 2 hours. And and it was like killing my ears to stand there and listen to the joint too, because she was like, now, Abu Bakr, you know better than this, don't you? And we sitting there like, oh my God, just beat me already. It's like, yo, I'd rather just get up a beat. But anyway, most households where everything is all about yelling, screaming, cussing, that type of reprimanding, they can't hear a regular conversation because that becomes their norm. They can't take that. They can't take that kind of conversation.
But peep this. But how did Cain act when his grandfather tried to treat him the same way?
You talking about Menace Society?
Menace Society, man. He blacked out. He zoned. They said, man, I hear this song all the time. Covered his ears. We have to realize that sometimes influence, what I seen, right?
Right.
It doesn't come from the household sometimes. It was the men on the street that we was influenced. Like, a lot of times, the elders, like when I was coming up, they didn't really want us selling drugs. Man, my mom used to tell the guy, if I'm acting up, do something to me.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
the influence wasn't from the house. It was because normally, if you think about it, we probably spend 8 hours in the home, and most of the time we're asleep.
Right.
We're sleeping. We're only sleep. I spent
Right.
most of my days in school. The 4 hours, 5 hours that I was outside hanging with the friends after the homework, and then I'm in the house. I'm going to bed.
Right.
So the influence always was that, and that influence, it depends on what caliber of men you had back then. You know, like you said, it wasn't no women and children like that. The women who got hit, Abdullah, was the people involved in these criminal activities, setting people up and stuff like that.
Right.
But it wasn't natural. It wasn't natural just to go around and just shoot a woman.
Now, yeah.
Or kill some kids.
Right.
The community handled that. You get what I'm saying? Now, they don't care, man. I seen something in Chicago with one of Dirk boys got killed in front of his children.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah. It is unfortunate.
It's outrageous.
It's unfortunate, but you know, I said it's no need to try to, you know, and this is just generally discussing. I mean, if y'all, you know, I'm not directing it at anybody specifically, but if the cat fits, wear it. There's no need to try to change Islam. If anything, we need to change ourselves for Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no need to set up a new type of Islam, because that's what's always seemed to be, and to me, what I call is a knee-jerk reaction to any type of public profiling or a public situation that happened. That is usually what Black American Muslim leadership always do. Is always a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, they had these brothers. They just, you know, made plans to do. Oh, that's why, you know, anybody who wears a blue kufi, we banning all blue kufis in the match. Be like, yo, bro, how much more, you know, oppression you're gonna put on the people that's already oppressed? We have a systemic breakdown. These things only exist because there's a vacuum, there's a hole there. Even when it was hot, when everybody was doing the whole terrorism, some of that stuff was entrapment, some of them dudes CIA plugs, whatever. When all that stuff, when that was the hot thing to do, there was a vacuum. The community was breaking down even more to where people felt comfortable to be able to come in and talk to your youth, give them money, flashy. Remember, what was that, the Newburgh 6? You know what I'm saying? The dude coming in, like, we need to blow up the synagogue. Yeah, give him money. Dudes is broke. Black people are always easy recruitment because you broke. You ain't got no money. You always an easy recruit. Right? Give them a couple dollars, they done. And this is what's happening, and it's never changed. We gotta up our standards. Everything can't be about the money all the time. We gotta up our standards. You gotta have more morals. You gotta have a code. And these things are missing. You know what I'm saying? Families have to be built on code and love as well. You know, it has to be built on that. You know, but I don't know, man. We might be, you know, if you got kids that's under 10, instill these principles in them. Over the 10, you still talk to them, try to guide them as much as possible, pray for them. But the influence is heavy. We gotta box out the influences. And as leaders, that joint is too easy. It's a knee-jerk reaction. We gotta stop this buffoonery.
Imam, Khalil, to be honest with you, that was a thing of fear. A lot of men, they scared of these young boys, man. I don't care what nobody say. We can sugarcoat it. They scared of these young boys, man. And they scared of the young boys because when you deal with them, you're gonna have to die. And nobody wants to die no more, bro.
Why you never say that? Listen,
time,
I've never experienced in all my life, and I'm not saying that it hasn't, but I've never experienced this. You know, this fear, this type of reaction from young people that everybody fears. Bro, I lived on this one block. I lived on this one block in South Philly. Shake, man, these young boys on this block was dying left and right. They was getting smoked. They was smoking people, all that.
But I had half of them praying in the masjid before a year was out. You know what I'm saying? Just sit down, talk to him. I remember my ex-wife, the one boy, he got shot, man. This boy got shot point blank range with an AK-47. And, you know, my ex-wife ran out there, you know, was like, just say la ilaha illallah. You know what I'm saying? But, and, you know, I don't know if he died or not. I know he was in long-term care. He was pretty messed up. I don't know if he deceased or anything. But, you know, a lot of them, as time went on, you catch him on a one-on-one, you talk to him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, nobody had nobody to talk to him. Dudes talk to me. That's how I got up out the streets.
But again, like, what's the brother name? Shakur? What's your I don't want to call you by your real name, Jay Young.
Shakur,
what did you call him?
Shakur. Jay Young? Yeah, that's Abdul Shakur.
Yeah, Abdul Shakur. You know, one of the things you're right, and relativity is they know you for sure, right? Like, prime example. Imam Khalil could talk to me. I could, it has to have some hierarchy.
Mm.
One, you old farts. Excuse my friend, I'm not talking about you, Imam Khalil. I'm not talking about that.
I'm an uncut.
Right. Get out the way. Y'all might have to just get out the way. Move over. Nobody's wearing a Nelly patch underneath their eye, a headband, a 5X jersey anymore. If you don't know these terms they're using or what's really going on and all that crazy stuff, moms, y'all a little hip because y'all think y'all young, y'all still want to listen to Sexy Red, so y'all be kind of until they start using their slang, the girls do. But y'all need to get out the way.
That's pathetic if a grown woman want to try to be like Sexy Red.
Man, and that's why they be trying to be their daughter's friends. Yeah, but y'all gotta get y'all gotta get out the way. Y'all can't be scared to lose your position. It should be that I should be able to come for you for advice to give to these new schools because they still know us and they understand that we was before them. Nobody is talking about Jay-Z's albums no more, right? If you don't know what's really going on anymore, bro, just move out the way. Like I see all the older imams coming together. What are you going to do to a 15-year-old, bro? Your kids Your kids is my age.
Right.
What are you going to do? Scoot over. Just scoot over. It's okay. Move out the way. Let people that knows about what's going on do their job. Right? And then we'll start seeing these relatable things. I understand. Like I said, my nieces are 25. I'm only 6 years older than some of my nieces. I understand what's going on with them.
Right.
I know what's going on with them. I know what's going on with these 21, 24. They was around. They was young boys when I was out there, so they understand.
Right.
But y'all, we got to get out the way. Right? These 15 and 16-year-olds, put their little bad butts on punishment if you got a 15. Stop trying to buy them Jordans when they don't deserve it. Because half of these little kids that's out here drilling, let's be realistic. I'm putting my petty hat on. Let me put it on just for a little bit, Imam Khalil, now that you have the microphone. Y'all got to stop spoiling these little kids to the point where they don't know the difference between reward and punishment. If you yourself don't have an iPhone 15 and you're working a gazillion billion hours, your children shouldn't have it. You shouldn't be walking around with a flip phone and your kids got all the highest, newest stuff that you don't. And they don't even know how to clean the room or clean their drawers. Right. Because you're creating a bunch of entitled kids when they hear no and they're angry and they're emotional. And a lot of this killing that's going on now is emotional killing. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with anything.
You know what? I want to add to that, Saleh. Now, what I want to add to that is the image, right? Because I think we talk, and I think it's kind of misunderstood when we're talking about these kids out here doing killing and stuff. Like it's like kids coming from bad homes and stuff like that. Some of these kids actually come from good homes, and
that's what I said. It's emotional. It's emotional killing.
They just caught up in, you know. I'm telling you, kids that's in school, because a lot of this, the battleground, the training, or the recruitment is high school, junior high school, from 8th grade on up to 12th grade to their last year. That's the recruiting grounds. From 8th grade till they graduate. Some schools, some areas is worse than others. They might be recruiting at 6th grade.
And as you said to me before, Michael, you said, "Yo, West is the West, and that's where the murders is at." If you think about North, them young boys out here trying to get money. Hey, you don't hear it. You hear it, but it ain't going on. There's a lot of them spoiled little kids is out here killing, doing emotional killing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Deeply
look at them, you talk to them,
trauma.
right? Not even deeply based trauma. It's just these kids is deeply based trauma through the parents. The kids don't know it. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. They're from the generation where you can't even say nothing to them. I remember I used to try to say something to my sister kids. She used to curse me out. Don't say nothing to my baby. But yo, he just kicked me in my kneecap and ran off. What am I supposed to say? Just let him kick me again? you get what I'm saying? And then what's gonna happen when he's 20? Wallahi Azim, I'm gonna tell you a story, y'all. I'm gonna tell you a story. I have a nephew. Ahmed can vouch because I had to leave work to go to this. I have a 20-something-year-old nephew. I remember it was a Christmas one time. I went to go visit my sister. My sister is a lieutenant in Trenton State Prison. Her husband he worked for SOC. He worked for Trenton State Prison, so they have an income of close to $400,000 a year together. She bought my nephew some polo socks. Now, mind you, Khalil, if I gave you some polo socks, what you gonna say right now? If I just brought you some nice polo socks, then, bro, what you gonna say? You gonna love them, right? You're like, these polo. I'm about to throw these on. My nephew grabbed and looked at him and said,
"That's polo socks."
Right. So my nephew looked at the polo socks, right?
No.
And said, "Man, I don't want this," and threw it back at my sister.
Wow.
He lives in a nice big giant home, bro. I had to stop doing what I was doing from work and found out my nephew got shot. He's involved with some Grape Street Crips.
Mm.
His home is beautiful. He ain't got to worry in the world. My sister gave him a car. What you out here getting shot for, bro? Got people lurking around my sister's house with a mask on. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's emotional killing. Spoiled. A lot of these new kids, they don't know what it's like to struggle. A lot of these guys' moms are CNAs, RN. Yeah. Oh, and guess who's over? A little stinky little heifer who don't even know how to offer extension.
What was it? 2 men down. There's always a woman in the background.
Yeah. That's what it be over.
Well, it ain't too much to fight over. That's what I'm saying. You gotta have a little bit more self-love, self-knowledge, man. It has to be in order to break that cycle. You have there's more. Our physical reality is captive. It's captive, and it falls in line with the psychological enslavement. The body's only following what the mind is put on. We have to break the mental. You know what I mean? And that's one of the majaz, one of the ijaz, the miracles of the Quran. It challenges you mentally. We're not getting that change because mentally we're not into the Quran like we once were or pondering over it. That is the greatest miracle of the Quran. It challenges the mind. That's why Allah ends in some ayahs and yatafakirun, for those who reflect, ulul albab, for those who have enlightenment, a dhikr, these things are mentioned, in description that it requires some sort of thinking. If you don't think and you just move just based off of whims, then this is what you have today, these behaviors, right? Because it's not just gang shooting. You got people in breakup relationships, they're killing each other. Not just gang shooting, people shooting each other based off of, off of love. I don't want you to have nobody else. Like the sister, rahimahullah, it was some years back. I guess she had a child with some non-Muslim dude. I guess she converted to Islam, and she was attempting to get married, and the boy killed her, the mother. I can't remember what happened to the child though. He just this dude got. I think he got life. Like he ain't never getting out of jail. But all of this is happening behind emotional violence, emotionally sparked violence, right?
I don't want to keep talking like the only thing that just happened is guys that's in the street. No, everybody is killing now.
All right,
You
like that
getting a
incident,
little
that incident you
fender
told me
bender out
about
in the
that.
streets and they're trying to kill you.
Remember that incident you told me about that? You know that you got mad that one time you was outside in your Yankee shorts with your goofy to the side, holding an assault rifle. Said you ain't going nowhere. You gonna kill up everybody? I'm playing. I'm joking.
Nah. So the only thing I can say, our conclusion, so our giving our solution, because we've been on here about 90 minutes, is you just got to start Islam 101. Those basic things. You know, sit down and have a conversation with your family. If you listen to this, you and the gang, your gang, most of y'all sit down and have a conversation about this before you go to the Eid. No weapons. No weapons at the Eid. No killing other Muslims. Not killing anybody, period, because taking a life without any justification by Allah Ta'ala's Deen is a sin, and you condemn to hellfire. These type of things have to be discussed. We have to turn off that no judgment culture. Why are you judging me? Because what happens is when you don't command the good and forbid the evil, then the evil will call you and you'll be quiet about, and you won't no longer call the people. You'll keep the good, basically under a cap, which allows oppression, disbelief and innovation to run rampant. And that's what we're having today. That's what's happening today. The cycle, it got to be broken. It got to be broken. There's no way we're gonna be able to move forward. For every young man that's killed, right? You're taking out 2 generations of families right there. The man who's killed, he's dead, and usually he's younger than 20. The man who killed him is, he's dead too because he's gonna be in prison, and he's usually younger than 20. So you just knocked off 2 generations right there. It's genocide. Homicide leads to genocide. It's just killing. It's just like an extinction going on. So, like I said, pay closer attention to those that are 10 and under. Install principles in them. Make Islam their culture. Make it have a cultural love. You know what I mean? Have a cultural love for it. Not only just a love for Allah Ta'ala, make that love for Allah Ta'ala part of that culture. A cultural love. Anybody that's under that umbrella, that umbrella that's the Islamic cultural, make that love extend to them as well. Because when you start to love Islam, you don't look at human beings just like any old person, right? You get to a point, you don't just see them and look at them like, oh, he's just a Kafir, he's just a Muslim. But you see them as they're part of Allah Ta'ala's creation. And the only thing you want for Allah Ta'ala's creation is you desire good for them, and you desire for them to be amongst the people of La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. And you look at them with a higher rank out of the creation of Allah Ta'ala, out of Allah's creation. You look at the people of La ilaha illallah with a higher rank, but the ones who aren't the people of La ilaha illallah, you still see them and desire for them good because Allah Ta'ala created them. And that's how you have to see it. It will minimize you because your love for Allah Ta'ala, you wouldn't want to violate his creation without justification. You don't want no violations. You don't want that against you. So with that is also a sign. But on a religious aspect, on a more spiritual aspect, the easier it is for you to commit sins, that's always a sign that your iman is weak. Because sins, unrepentant sins, leads to hellfire upon death. You can't get around that. So that's my closing statement. Brother Saleh, you got a closing statement, and inshallah we'll be out of here.
Again, with me, it's just, we got to just start stepping up and, monitoring our children again. Monitoring our children again. Stop being their friends. And again, put Deen first, man. It's like, to the point where, us adults, when hardship comes to us, Islam normally is thrown out the window, and our children may see it. For the men, our children may see us go from woman to woman, wife to wife, wife to wife, to the wives. The children will see men, man, man, and man, and man, and this reflects on them. And what did you say too, Imam Khalil, that some of us would even have children? You treat them like one of the Muslim. Would you say like them comfort dogs, some comfort animals?
Keep them up under you all the time.
Keep them up under you all the time. You know what I mean?
Like a little poodle or something.
Yeah, like a little poodle, a little dog. You know what I mean? And we forget that they grow to be men and women. And if they're created like that, they're going to have a lot of things that they ain't going to understand once the real reality hit. And again, a lot of these kids are walking around here. Their mentality, their brain is activated on PlayStation 5 time. And this is one of the problems we are having. So we have to get back and and doing real life family event things. Doing things as a family outside of technology and things like that. I know in my household I was playing Monopoly with them and I was smashing them. That's the reality. I mean, smashing them in Monopoly. I was smashing them. You know what I mean? So, just go back and start doing things like that. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll see it. And then again, man, we got to make that. One of the shades, one of the shades of Allah, when there be no shade, is that a child that was raised in the masjid, heart is tied in the masjid, and we got to start get our kids being in love with the masjid again. Being active there, like you said, we ain't gonna put a basketball court in the back, let them play. Nah, being here, listen to what's going on.
Right.
Listen to what's going on. Our kids go. Pretty soon, our kids gonna have to be the half of the Quran, the alims. If we ain't raising that for them to be alims, who's going to be the inheritors of the masjid? You're going to die. I'm going to die. Who's going to step up? If our kids aren't learning the religion, we got to start making that a priority. Inshallah, that's about it. That's all I got to say, man.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Well, once again, this is our new time, Sundays at 8:30. Inshallah, if you like what you heard, share, like, subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Try to get our subscription up. Alhamdulillah. We're up to about 250 people now. The more you spread, you help us. Inshallah. And the further you go, and it help us grow, inshallah. So with that, inshallah, make dua for us. And, we just can't be having a knee-jerk reaction to things that happen on a social level in the Islamic communities.
Right.
It had to be well thought out, and it has to be something that's in line with what Allah Ta'ala and the Prophet Sallallahu said. So with that, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal 'asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihati wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Thank you. Have a good night, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.